Let's begin our satsang now with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Layadima Shaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Master, Paramhansa Yoganandaji, saints of all religions, bow at thy feet, O great masters, as we seek to attune ourselves. Bless our efforts in meditation, in this satsang, in our seva. We are thine. Bless us now. Om Shanti Shanti. Let's meditate just a few minutes together. Let's inhale, tense the whole body, vibrate, exhale. Again. Om, 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 Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It'd be nice if people could come in closer, if at all possible. Yeah, there's not a lot of people. So come sit on the floor or bring your chair up or. I wouldn't mind sitting down if the group gets closer. What do you think? Yeah, the closer you can be, the more I could sit down, which I would like to do if possible. Let's get the chair. Okay, perfect. And the water would be good, a glass of water. Yeah, this is much better. So some of you I know, some of you I may not know, or may not know from this lifetime at least, but it's a joy to be back here. I see some old friends, I see some new faces. Um, my name is Nayaswami Dhyana, and I've been at Ananda since 1978 and have been in India for 20 years. And so that pretty much sums it up. I went to serve in Ananda in Europe for 7 years. I went to Africa for 3 months for Ananda. I went to Australia for 2 months for Ananda. I've been in India all this time, and I plan to spend the rest of my life, if Master wills, to be in India. And so today, I want to share with you just a little bit, and then I want to ask you for questions because it's an opportunity for you to ask your questions. There's some level 2 students here, 3 students maybe. There's some Kriya Bonds here. There's maybe new people. And so think about it as I go into the topic of grace and attunement. And I'll just share more informally that today was pretty much a sign of God's grace. I prayed before I came here to Mumbai. I travel all over India, all the centers, and I always prayed to my guru that he guide me and direct me. And today there were, several. I had lots of luggage with me, and I didn't have the help I usually have. So I just asked Master to guide me. So I get into the airport, and lo and behold, I meet an old friend. And I had been thinking when I got in the airport that there's somebody here, and I don't know who it is, but there was a feeling that somebody would be there to help me. And there was one person from Mumbai, Ajoy. Some of you know Ajoy, some of you don't, but there he was. And as we were about to get on the plane, I kept looking at him thinking, he looks awfully familiar, but I don't. And then he came over, Dhyanaji, is that you? And I said, Ajoy? I mean, I haven't seen him for years. Now, how did that happen? He missed his flight. He was supposed to be on an earlier flight by an hour and a half. He missed that flight. He was on the flight I was on. And we met after years. We were like kids. We got on there. We talked the whole way from Delhi here. Some miraculous things happened, maybe property that he wants to get for Ananda and so forth and so on. But anyway, it was a sign of Master's hand. I prayed and he came. And then I went to the wonderful cafe. I'm sure you all have gone there and go there. What did I feel there? I just didn't want to leave. It was so joyful. It was so wonderful. Of course, the food was delicious too, but the satsang. I mean, just think if we had no guru, we're in the weekend of Guru Purnima, we didn't have Master, we didn't have any of our gurus. If we didn't have Swami Kriyananda, who's a direct If we had no book that Swamiji ever wrote, no lecture, no piece of music that Swamiji ever wrote, no center that you could go to, not one guru by that you could talk to, no chant, where would you be? This is God's grace. I'd rather come to it with gratitude rather than, oh, Master he didn't do this, well, he didn't do that. Look at your health, look at your mental health, look at your physical health, look at your friends and family and places like this that we can come to. There's so many blessings. And so then I at the cafe was just so wonderful. I mean, I stayed there, how long was it? 2 hours or longer? And it was just so wonderful to be in there. And it's a cafe, but it's like, I mean, we were having tea and snacks but the vibration, I felt Master's presence there. I felt blessings flowing. I felt the grace of the guru there, and I kept it interesting. And they said, let's start playing chants. so we start playing chants, and I mean, I could have night. That's Master's blessing. I come here, it's just as full of vibrations, it's full of grace, it's full of blessings. We have to open ourselves up. It's not them, it's us. Let's face it. And one woman disciple said, well, Master, I don't feel you as much as the others say that they feel you. And he said, if you shut the door, how can I come in? And so, door of my heart, open, wide, I keep for thee. And Master told Dr. Lewis, I want you to never avoid me. And Dr. Lewis said, of course I won't avoid you. And he said so many times he wanted to avoid. He didn't want to do his practices. He didn't want to do the seva. He didn't want to get up in the morning. He didn't want to energize. He didn't want to read the books or whatever. You know, how many times do we avoid? I don't want to energize. I don't want to do your postures. I don't want to go over to the center. That's avoidance. And so when the disciple really is open, boy, the floodgates open up. And so much happens. Like Yanamata, at the end of her life, her words were joy, joy. And I spent 45, however many years it was, up to Swami with the great yoga master, with him in the community. When I came to Anand, I was 21 years old or something. I was out of college. I went to UC Berkeley. It was tough, but I had a degree in psychology. I got out of there. I said, okay, so I've got everything now. I got my job, I've got the money, I got the house, I got the car, I got everything. Everybody said you'll be happy. I wasn't happy at all. And I said, there's something missing here. What's missing? God's grace, God. And so I prayed. One night, we were a spiritual family, but I knew nothing about India, karma, reincarnation, guru. Nothing. I grew up in Watts. So I prayed overnight, just if there's a God, I want to know. And the very next day, Master came. Now, I didn't have a vision. I didn't hear a voice. I didn't see him coming out of a burning bush or anything. But it was very practical. I was at a store for my kids. I was working with social services, and I was buying some things. And I saw a little pamphlet on the checkout that said meditation. Now, when I got on the path, nobody in my community was meditating. No one. Okay, so I see this meditation. I just, wow, what is that? But something just said, just get it. Just get that book. Just a little pamphlet. And it was TM. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was the only person who was traveling around teaching meditation at that point, throughout at least California, probably in the US. And at least that's what I thought. And so, because then I met Master, but I was sitting on a park bench. Right after that, I got the book, I got the things. It was lunchtime. I was sitting there reading, and I was thrilled. I know you've had this kind of moment where something was happening, and it was something very deep. Like there was a force. behind Swamiji, there was a force that pushed him to that bookstore to buy Autobiography of a Yogi. He said there was an actual force. When Master met Swami Shukteswarji as Mukunda, he said his feet were like cement was there. He couldn't move. Then when he moved in one direction towards Swami Shukteswarji, his feet were free, and then the other he couldn't move. This was a force. It was like, get it. I read that. I was reading in the park on a bench, and I looked down from where I was, maybe between here and the street or the sidewalk here, and there was somebody sitting there meditating. I was shocked. I was shocked. I was look at the book. I looked at the man, and I ran over. I've always been very enthusiastic, and I said, "What is it that you're doing? What are you doing?" And I'll never forget. He wasn't. You could tell he wasn't sleeping. He was sitting in the meditation. It was like the book, and and he says, "Well, I was meditating," and I said, "I'm just reading about this." I just couldn't believe that. So he was a TM teacher, and so was his mother. She was 70 something or 80 something, and within 1 week, I've got fruits and flowers, and I'm going to get a mantra. Can you believe that story? And what gift did they give me? Autobiography of a Yogi. Not immediately, but very soon. Autobiography of a Yogi. I read that book. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what to think about it, but I loved the picture on the cover. And the picture kept pulling me, the eyes. And then from there, I was going to another organization, and I don't know how you felt, but I always felt, where's my family? Where's my spirit? There's people like me somewhere. I didn't know where they were, but here I was again. I just knew there were people like me, just as enthusiastic and happy and joyful and intense and wild. And somebody told me about Swamiji. This is God's grace. There's a great yogi. He lives up in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. His name is Swami Kriyananda. He's a direct disciple of Paramahansa. Whoa, he's a direct disciple? And he's a Westerner? And they said, and he trains you. They have a yoga community. They have a meditation community. This was in 78. Yeah. I went up there, and I met Swami Kriyananda. He was in his 50s then. He had long hair, beard. This was just after the hippie era, thick glasses. And I remember he wore a dhoti at different times, and he had, it was like India there. And all the guys, Jyotishji, Daviji, all that whole wave of people, they were all there. All the guys with the long hair, and, everybody was like, I never seen people like that at all. But you know what? I felt at home. I met Swamiji. It was in a satsang like this, and I remember at the end of the satsang, I didn't really know what to do. I just drove up there, and he motioned to me, and he says, "Now, what is your name?" And I told him, and he said, "This is your home. You should think about living here." And I thought, I'll never live here, but I didn't say anything. It was rustic. People were living in tents and a trailer and yurt and a tree house and whatever, there wasn't a lot going on the physical plane. It was rustic and rough. And but that was 45 years ago. I've been there ever since. But what was that? What pushed me there? The story of Kashi in Autobiography of a Yogi, where Master was talking to the boys in the school, and they were saying, "Well, what will I do in my future? Where will I be? Will I marry? Will I?" And Master said, "No, you will marry, and you won't. Whatever." He told them, and the little boy Kashi was 12, and he says, "Well, what about me, Master?" And I don't know what they called him Master, but anyway, whatever. So they said, he said, "No, you will die soon." And the Master was he didn't know what, felt so bad. Because, you can imagine how the child felt. And so he went up to Master and he said, when I die, will you bring me back on the path? And Master said, "No, I can't do that." And the boy, he was relentless. He kept asking, would you bring me back? Bring me back onto the spiritual path. And finally, Master said, all right, if Divine Mother allows it, I'll do my best. I'll try. You know the story, don't you? It's a fantastic story. I think we're Kashi. Each one of us is Kashi. And Master said within 6 months, he was walking through the streets of Calcutta. He says, I think he's been reborn. Now, what does that tell you? He brought him back. That's what it tells me. I mean, he could have been up there forever. Master said, get back. He brings him back, and he goes around with his hands up in Calcutta. And he's feeling for the soul of Kashi. I mean, it's a remarkable and such a sweet story of the Guru. And the people around him said, what are you doing with your hands up? And Master said, I'm looking for Kashi. And then finally one day he says, he's fingering in his hands, he says, I think I found my boy. And he goes to the house. I mean, this is why you need a guru. Who's going to find you? Who's going to bring you back? Who's going to get you on the path? Who's going to give you the teachings? Who's going to give you Kriya? Who's going to give you a center? Who's going to give you guru bhais? Who's going to help you? Who's going to give you lots of his good karma? Who? Only the guru can do that. So Master went to the house. He found the boy, and he opened the door. They opened the door, and the woman was 6 months pregnant. And he described the boy, and you can only do this in India. You can't do it in America for sure. But he said it, and he said he's a spiritually minded boy, and his name is Kashi. Wow. They gave him his old name back. The family believed him. It's just, I mean, how much love can you get from anybody like that? You can't. It's God's love. Master said that at 12 years old, he went back and took that boy and took him to a Himalayan yogi to continue his spiritual growth. It's just gonna love the story, you know. And I just feel like I'm Kashi. Everybody here, Master found you. How did you get here? I saw it in social media. I saw my friend told me it all sounds good, but up underneath there's this grace. It's just pushing and pushing you towards God and away from delusion, away from your old friends that they're not helping you anymore, and away from the old habits and the bad attitudes. There's like a huge force that's pushing us. And it's them. It's them. You can't get there by yourself. And so when he met Swamiji said he read the autobiography. He took the bus from the east to the west coast of America. 4 days and 4 nights. He read the book, he got on the bus, he left. I mean, you're gonna love it eventually, why not now? Master loved that spirit, that American spirit. So Swamiji gets over there and he meets him, and he said, Master put his finger on his heart and it vibrated for about 2 minutes. That's a long time. 2 minutes. And Swamiji said, I didn't feel anything. But from that moment, I changed. From that moment, I changed. And same with Dr. Lewis. Master put his head against Dr. Lewis's forehead and showed him the spiritual eye. And the thing he asked him, and he said to Swamiji too, he said, I give you my unconditional love. Will you also give me yours? And Swamiji said yes. And the other thing Swamiji said was so beautiful. He said, I didn't come for what I can get from you. I came for what I can give you. Wow, that's the right spirit. And Dr. Lewis, Master said, will you always, the very first meeting, Dr. Lewis, he was very conservative. He was from the East Coast. He was a dentist. Master brought him in, and Dr. Lewis says, I read here in the Bible where it says, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. And he looked at Master, long hair, dark skin, Indian, in their 20s and in America. And Dr. Lewis, totally Western and conservative at that. So he says, do you know what this means? And he said, I've asked many a minister, an acharya would say here, and nobody's been able to tell me what it means. He says, do you know what this means? And Master said, I think so. And he said, have you seen this light that he's talking about? Master said, I think so. He said, can you show it to me? He says, I think so. I just can't believe it. Of course he could show it to him. But I think so. So he said, here, you sit here in front of me. So there's Dr. Lewis, who's probably stiff as ever. Master had him sitting cross-legged on the floor. He didn't pull out the Gita, the Bible. He just said, sit here. And Master sat across from him. And then he looks in, and did he know who he was? Definitely. Does he know who we are? Surely. Make no mistake. So he says he knows who he is, and he sits him there, and he looks at him. Master's sitting across, and he looks at him, and he says, Doctor, will you love me always as I will love you? Very first meeting. And Dr. Lewis said he didn't know what to say. I mean, here's an Indian man. Somebody he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know anything about him, he feels. But he said, there was something about him that made me say yes. He said, I could feel the love flowing from him. And Dr. Lewis said, yes. And Master went, good. You did like this, good. Now I can take charge of your life. And only then he brought his forehead to Dr. Lewis's forehead. Dr. Lewis saw the spiritual eye and also the 1,000-petaled lotus at the top of the head. He was drunk. He walked out of there. It was Christmas Eve. He was supposed to be with his wife decorating the Christmas tree. And his wife, she was tough. She had like a frying pan or something waiting for him to come in the house. And so she looked at his face, and there was just light. And she says, oh, okay, come tell me what happened. She became a disciple too. Grace. It's grace. How do we meditate? Grace. You think you're doing it? Think again. How do we have any energy? How do we energize? Grace. How do we sing? How do we chant? It's grace. How can you do seva? How do we set up this ashram? How did Ananda start and keep going for 55 years? Swamiji said if Divine Mother had held back one miracle, we would have been shut down. It's all grace. And so we have to realize, and Master said to Herb Jeffries was at Hollywood. So you imagine Bollywood. He was a Hollywood star. He was very debonair. He was tall, dark, and handsome. And so there was Herb Jeffries. So Master said Herb Jeffries came to see him. He had many different people from various walks of life. He had musicians, he had Hollywood stars, he had all kinds of people. So Herb Jeffries says, I've been around to so many places, so many churches, and they all tell me what I cannot do. He said, I want to know, what can I do? And Master, of course, he knew the thoughts. He says, well, you smoke a lot, don't you? And he says, yeah, I do. I mean, he was like Mr. Hollywood. So Master said, you can continue. And he said, and you drink a lot too, don't you? And he said, yeah, I like drinking. It wasn't soda. And he said, Master said, okay, you continue. And he said, and you like socializing, don't you, a lot with the ladies? And he says, oh, yes, I like it. And Master said, keep going. So the man was so happy. He was walking out the door. Master said, but wait, if you do what I tell you, you won't want to do those things. Isn't it? If you start doing the practices, and I saw him, it wasn't like I just heard the story, I saw him. He came to one of Swamiji's lectures. I mean, it was near the end of, well, not the end, but some later, All I can say is he was very soft, very sweet, very devoted to Swamiji. And something happened to him. Grace. No, and I'll share one final story, then I'll have you ask questions. So this one I just love is that Herb Jeffries and Bob Raymer. So Bob Raymer was he was a millionaire, probably a multimillionaire. He had his own plane, and he flew in to see Master. So he goes and he knocks on the door. I don't know how he got in, but anyway, he's there to meet Master, and Master opens and he says, "Well, how can I help you?" And he says, "I read your book and autobiography, and I came all the way here because I want to learn this Kriya Yoga." He called it Kriya Yoga. Master said, "Okay, come on in." So he sits. I mean, this is a remarkable story. So he sits. It's just the two of them. He sits with him, and the Master had a some album of pictures of his relatives. So, and he had some mithai, some sweets. And so and the man, he's really ready for the Kriya Yoga. So, so he's sitting there, and Master says, "Here's my brother and my sister." And he gets the mithai and he's giving to the man. He put him in his mouth, he keeps, and the man says, Kriya Yoga, Kriya Yoga. So Master keeps turning the page and more mithai. And, what was he doing? He was opening his heart. He was going into that man. And so the man finally says, "Listen, I came here to learn the Kriya Yoga." Master said, "Okay, tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Now that's not you on the level 2 and 3 or whatever. That's not how we get it. But he said, "Tomorrow, come." So the man, he's so happy. So he comes and Master initiates him. Then the next day, that night, he said, "Now don't," the man, he would have 2 martinis every night. He says, "Don't drink anything. You do this." And so the man goes back to his hotel room and, and he's doing the Kriya Yoga. And suddenly energy just lifts up his spine. He said, and I met him. These are people I met at Ananda. So these are great souls. And he said, he told all of us, we were at a conference with Swamiji, and he said, I just had done a couple of those and everything started happening. And he said, I had been sitting on the bed meditating, and my energy just started rising up. And he said, I was just so happy. He said, I started laughing and I started crying. And I said, I've been waiting for this my whole life. He said, I fell off the bed laughing and crying, and I just couldn't believe what happened. What happened to him? What happened to him? He met him for the first time. Do you understand? Master said 25% is your effort. 25% the guru gives you. He said, lots of my good karma. My goodness. And he said 50% is the grace of God. So what does that mean? What do we do with the practices? We energize, we turn our cup up, we meditate, our cup is turned up, we do yoga postures, we have the right attitude, we chant, we come to the satsang, we're open, we're receptive. And there was a man, and so God's grace can come in. And there was a shocking story we heard from Swamiji. He said there was a man at the ashram, the center, who there where he was, and he said the man was even an acharya, we would say, a minister there. He was an acharya, and that he left, and people were. Swamiji said people were coming and going. It was like a hotel at Mount Washington. People came, they checked in, they checked out, and So then finally, this man left. Other people left too, but this man left, and people were asking Master, well, because people came back sometimes. He said, well, will he come back? When will he come back? Master said, never. And you know what he said? He was never in. He was teaching. I mean, he was there going through the motions, but he had never really opened himself to God's grace. It takes time. Door of my heart, open wide. That's hard to do. It's cracked at the beginning, Okay, I get this much open. I'm trying, but this is this is all I can do. No? You keep chanting, you keep coming, you keep meditating, you keep serving, then it's wider. more grace can come in. Then, okay, now, okay, I'm more open. Understand the difference? Now I'm more open. So the practices help you to open up. Well, otherwise, no, I'm not going to energize. I'm not doing yoga. I'm not going to the satsang. Well, you're going to have problems. And so as you come, you become like a ripe fruit. And then it just comes easily off the tree. So you have to work at God's grace. It's not like God's grace. Where is it? You have to open yourself. Every day, more and more can come in. Every day, you're smiling more. Every day, you're more joyful. Every day, you're more kind. Every day, you're more loving. Every day, you're more in attunement. Every day, your voice changes, your eyes change, your face changes. You see, every day, you look at your old pictures. It can be shocking. Maybe you think you were looking good. You had your best outfit and you're at the prom or whatever, but you weren't looking good. But really, Master said you won't be able to recognize yourself. You'll be so different. I mean, if you just keep putting in every day grace through listen to the music. There's 400 pieces of music. Watch what you watch on social media. Watch our YouTube channel. Watch the videos of Swamiji. Watch the videos of Jyotishan Deviji, the other acharyas. Listen to the chants. Come over and find some seva to do. Do you see the difference? Go over to the cafe. Be in a good environment. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, it's difficult. It's difficult there. So there was another one. I keep saying I'm going to end, but I will end with this, that this woman was... she was a disciple. She was a disciple. It wasn't like she just came up the street. And she said to Master, I found another guru. He can dematerialize his body on one hill and materialize it on the other. I love what Swamiji said. It's not like anyone ever saw it. But he claimed. There's a lot of people claiming. He claimed it. So this woman was gullible and she believed it. I love it. No, not anybody ever saw. So then she said, I'm going to leave. So Master just said, okay. This is the important part. He said, I'll withdraw my ray. Wow. Now, what is that? What is the ray? It's the vibration, the consciousness of God through the guru. Master said, I killed Yogananda long ago. No one dwells in this temple now but God. So the consciousness, the energy, the light, the magnetism, the joy. What is the ray? The protection? All of that is what the ray is. And more. So Swamiji, he said he knew this woman. She went off. She came back a year later. He just said the light wasn't there anymore. Why? She went somewhere else, and I'm sure she dropped all the rest of what she had, so she had another ray, whatever. So, I mean, we have to be vigilant of what we have and the gift that we have, and rather be grateful and do the practices. And, it's a long path and a long rhythm. It's your whole life. It's not a year, it's not a month, it's not 5 years. It's like I dedicate myself. And that's why I'm so happy. I see some Guru Bhais have been around from the beginning of Mumbai, and still here, still going, still meditating, still, and you have some ups and downs, but at least you're heading in the right direction. And, and if you keep going, you really change. Like I'm playing a musical instrument now. I'm playing, probably you may not know it, but it's like a sitar, but it's with a bow. It's called an esraj. I've been playing for a year. You might get a chance to hear, but at the beginning it was so scratchy. I just was like, I told my teacher, I said, and he's like Mr. Professional. I said, it just sounds terrible. I said, I don't know how you keep a straight face. It just sounds, even to me, it sounds terrible. And I said, it sounds like a cat that's screeching, and especially those high notes. And And he said, yeah, I used to have that cat, and he'll go away. And then he said to me, he said, what you need is time. You need time. He said, I've been playing since I was 5. It was like 35 years. He said, you need time. I say it to you, I need time. But don't wait, keep going. But you need the time. Like the time to get the wrong attitude, you need the time to get the right attitude. Time to get out of laziness, time to get out of anger or fear or depression or moods or whatever. I remember I used to be a moody person. It's so long back, and people would say, well, how are you doing? Fine. Is there anything wrong? No. What's the problem with you? Everybody can fill in the blank, but those things start just dissolving, and you just realize, God, I'm a different person. I don't have that anger or being upset or mood or depression or whatever it is. I don't have it anymore. One word: your efforts and grace. Draw on the grace every day, and you'll find that, wow, we don't know we have mastery. So you get the key in your hand. Use it. Once you use it, you'll be completely transformed. In my life now, what do I feel? Joy. Joy. No matter what's going on, it's in my heart. You understand that this comes from, yes, efforts, but God's grace. And it's who we are. The soul is full of joy, but it gets covered over. So let's meditate a moment and think of if you have any questions, and then we'll close with that. Feel God's grace now as we meditate just a moment, flowing into your consciousness. Now let's send out waves of light and blessings to anyone we know as we close this part of the satsang who is in need, sharing the light, the grace of God and the Masters. Anyone in need of prayers, body, mind, upliftment, and spirit, ask that the gurus use you to channel their grace. Let's rub our hands together. Lift your hands and let's chant Om 3 times. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay, if there are any questions, please raise your hand. If not, Medha, you have some questions, right? She always does. Why don't you start it off?
I was just thinking that in the cafe you were talking about the giving the kriya like to a certain people having certain kind of consciousness, and it's not like that it is being to be given like very easily like this comes without going into the details of it. But if you can just talk about that a little bit and how much like the meditation, the importance of meditation that you were talking about and all that. So
Yeah.
if you could just
Yeah, I mean, everybody here is able to move in that direction. But, someone asked me recently about how to get more discipline. And I thought, gee, I don't really want to talk about that. I mean, I want to come at it from love. Why do I go in my meditation room? I love it. I love being there. I love my gurus. Why do I chant like we were chanting today? Because I love it. You see the difference? Why did I come here? Because I love serving my guru. It's not, you must get to Mumbai, they need you. Get over there and you stay with them. Then go to Pune. Then go to Bangalore. You gotta do it. No, it's from your heart. So if you can shift from the I have to how do you learn to love it? I would say chant, come to the kirtans, read the whispers from eternity, open any book of masters, go up to your altar and just tell them I want to have more love and devotion. And Swamiji came to master, he was very intellectual. The master said, you must get devotion. Swamiji went bought a harmonium, he started chanting. He transformed his consciousness. And so I'd rather see, you see people sometimes they're on a fast or something in a 30 days and they just look so hungry. It's like, eat. Why? Oh, where's the joy? Once you start losing the joy, it's not worth it anymore. I've got to do it. I'm a yogi. Hello. I mean, Ananda means joy, Satchidananda. So we have to lighten up. People get so, and Swamiji told me, I was saying this at the cafe too, that if you had 3 children, you say, and this one needs to have more energy, this one needs to calm down, and this one may need some chocolates, whatever. But I remember Swamiji said to me, because we moved to Italy to help start the work there, and we hardly ever meditated because we were chanting all the time because nobody knew how to meditate yet. So you had like a 10-minute meditation, lots of chanting. And so I said, Swamiji, we never get to meditate here. All we do is chant. You need to chant. That was his response. You need to chant. And I did need to chant, and I do need to chant. You see, so I would say rather come through the door that's open. The door, if you enjoy satsang, keep coming to the satsang, and then you start feeling like, wow, there's more going on. If you enjoy chanting, go through that door. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling better with the chanting. Seva door. I like serving. Then after service, you feel like, okay, I want to go help. I want to go to the satsang. You see, it shouldn't be, I mean, it's a long way. We're talking about we're talking about lifetimes. And what did I learn from Swamiji? Balance. Balance, not, and I read, there was something in Conversations with Yogananda where someone was saying that the saints, Catholic saints, they have more austerities, they would do whatever. And we're talking about that at the recent Kriyaban retreat. And I just said, that's just not our way. That was their way at that time. And it's just not our way. So I read something from Master. So one of the monks was saying, how come we don't have more austerities, fasting or whatever? And Master said, listen, when God gives more, take it. And then he said, he knows what you need. So don't say, I'd rather just have a hair shirt on and stand on one leg. Or it's not what we're doing this time. We have enough challenges, So I'd rather say, get going in a direction that pushes you along. And then you'll say, okay, yeah, I feel like meditating. Like here's another one. If you enjoy yoga postures, what do you feel like after doing yoga? What do you feel like after yoga postures? Meditation. It's a door. What do you feel like after chanting? Meditation. What do you feel like after a kirtan? You're just sitting there. You don't want to move. See the difference? And you're around certain people, and the vibration is just so high, you just want to sit and meditate. So rather go with your inclinations rather than, I got to do it. I just got it. They told me I had to. There we have a framework, but it's not heavy duty. And how did I get going? I got going because I had friends. They were. I was. How can you say it? The wave took me far. Not being in my own raft by myself with an oar. You see, the wave of consciousness, the wave of the guru bhais, all the strong-minded people of Ananda and Swamiji and all the gurus, that wave, And so I think I did this much and that much, boom, came from them. And so get in and start swimming with everybody else rather than, okay, they told me I got to do it. Oh my God. Oh, gee, I don't want to, you know? So I bet after the satsang tonight, you're just going to feel better. You probably feel better than when you came. Isn't it so? I mean, I see people's faces look better than they did an hour ago. So you just feel better. So what does that mean? Come into satsang, you feel better. You understand that difference? So I'm trying to be realistic, and the approach that will take you far, and it's not a sprint. Do that, and then people fall off. They're so disciplined that they're just tight. I can't do anything. I can't eat. I can't drink. I can't go. I can't see my friends. I can't. I was at that Bob Raymer story. Is that the one? No, the other one. That one I told you. Master said, you won't want to do the other things. Your attitudes are going to change if you do what I tell you to do. He said he could take 5 boys of the most restless type and teach them Kriya. And in 4 or 5 years, make saints out of them. If they do it in the way he says. I mean, this man was incredible. There was a man who was a friend of somebody Swamiji knew, and he was in the hospital. And the man asked if Master would pray for him. And the guy was in a coma. And Master prayed for him. And Master said he felt like an explosion. That was his word. Explosion came out of him, out of Master. And boom! And the man in the hospital sat up. And the nurse even said she heard a boom sound and saw a light, a flash of light. And the man sat up and he was healed. And I have my own friends. I had a very good friend who died from AIDS way back. She called Swamiji. She was a teacher. She called Swamiji and said, this is what the doctor says. I'm going to last 1 year. And Swamiji, he said, don't go into the consciousness of the disease. Do your practice. Energize. Energize twice a day. Do more Kriya. He said, don't go there. 1 year, you know what she did? She got in her car alone, drove around teaching. She was a teacher. She just kept going. She didn't get in the bed. She drove around. She wrote chants. She chanted. She taught chanting classes, workshops. 1 year passed. She's live, more alive than the other people. 2 years passed. Her name was Carol, but her nickname was Happy. She was happy, very joyful. 3 years. She's still traveling around, teaching, serving. She didn't go down. Chanting. I loved her. 4 years passed. 5, 6. She's still alive. 7. Can you believe that? 8. She lived 10 years. I was there the day before she left her body. I went to the hospital. Davy G and I went. We brought a harmonium, put it on that bed, chanting with her. And then I went and took her hand. And by then she was in a coma. You barely recognized her. I took her hand and I said, Happy, if you can hear us chanting and you know we're here, squeeze my hand. I went and told the nurse, I said, she's coming out of the coma. She said, no, she's finished. It's over. Whatever she said. I said, will you come and see? Good woman woke up. She woke up. She called her friends. Bye, I'm going. Bye. 2 days later, she happily left her body. Understand? Grace? It's no joke. Master kept that woman alive through practices, through serving, and through right attitude. Wow, that's quite a story. You gotta be motivated. I mean, you can't just be passively hoping and praying that something's gonna happen. You gotta be a spiritual warrior, you know? I told Swamiji my upbringing. I mean, there was violence, drugs, alcohol, everything. The community I came out of in Los Angeles, and Swamiji, his only comment was, "That was good for your character." He was like, "Good for you. You needed it, so you can handle anything." I told I told Davy G when I first came in there, I said, God, it's so hot and there's mosquitoes and I don't know what to do. And there's so many people here and I just this traffic. And she said, come on, get with it. And she said, if you can live here, you can live anywhere. If you can get through India, you can get through anything. And she was right. So whatever test that comes to you, don't go crying about it. I don't know what to do. Do anything. Just get up and move. I mean, that's the spirit of all you have to do is watch Master's videos on YouTube. Boy, he was powerful. And he came, he was just a sergeant and general. He would walk out there and just, and then he come out on that stage running. How feels everybody? How is everybody? It wasn't, how feels everybody? Are you okay? I mean, he was like, get it, get it. I loved it, You got to realize, we're his children. Get up and do something. Do some more meditation. Get a harmonium. Start playing it. Take yoga teacher training. Get going. Then you find that, wow, there's Shakti on this path. That's a lot of it. Then what is that Shakti going to do? It's going to break the wall. Are you going to break the wall? Or are you going to lay down? It's like, I've been to all these places at the beginning to break the wall. Often with Jyotish and Daviji, so I'm going to get over there. In Europe, either you do something or you have a nice vacation, is what he said. So get over there. That wasn't easy. People think it was glamour and glory. I never saw any glamour and no glory. It was hard work. And it was like, stick with it. Same in Africa, living in a hut with no water and mosquitoes all over you. And, this is tough. And there was no phone, nobody there that we knew, nobody. But you make it. I remember trying to call Swamiji, finally getting to a hotel that was halfway decent, halfway, mind you. And alone. This was after a month jungle. And calling Swamiji's phone, it was like desperate. And only one person wrote us the whole time, Dambara. God bless you for going there. That's what he said. Dambara. I remember I tried calling Swamiji and the phone was ringing. I could, and then I heard Swamiji's voice. Hello? Swamiji! Swamiji, it's Dhyana! Click. The phone broke. The line broke. That was it. And the money was gone. What do? You carry on. And same trying to break into South Africa. I mean, it was apartheid. That wasn't a fun time to be in South Africa. Apartheid had just ended. We had all kinds of people coming to the classes, It was just amazing. I mean, but that was Master. Master wanted it. And the wonderful thing, I've never told you all this, but I mean, I didn't know one Indian before I went to South Africa. Then I went to Durban. And that was my first encounter with Indians. I loved it. When Rajiv Maharaj, one of our friends, he said, we didn't know him, but he became a friend. And he says, you just got to come to my house. I know you all will relate. You got to come to my house. My parents, they want to meet you. They want this Yogananda teaching, and you just got to come. He was about 25 or something. So we said, okay. So we go to his house, and Dr. and Mrs. Mirage, I love those people. I wish I could find them. And they said, oh God, we want a Yogananda. We got to hear about Yogananda. And can we invite a few friends over? And we said, sure. In 1 hour, 30 people were in that house. So there, all the relatives, young, old, everybody was there. We want a Yogananda. We heard about Yogananda. And no, you can't leave. Spend the night. The next day, don't leave yet. We got to have an energization. We got to learn what's everything. Hong Sa. Just God, it's like there's everything in one. So then at the end, the Dr. Mirage, people were giving testimonials. So Dr. Mirage stands up and he says, and I believe it's true, honestly. He says, I read Autobiography of a Yogi where it says that Babaji, anyone who calls with devotion to Babaji will receive an instantaneous blessing. He said, I closed that book and I prayed to Babaji and I came because I prayed. Now we have a group in South Africa. I went in 1991. I thought nobody will ever come back here. Nothing. But Shankar's got a group going. So what am I saying? Do something. Find out how you can help. How can you help Swamiji's books? How can you help at the cafe? How can you help at the center? How can you help in the kirtan group? Figure it out. And have initiative and creativity. And you will find that, wow, we're sitting on a gold mine. That was one question that went on for a 10-minute answer. But maybe that's it. Maybe that's it, unless there's any other questions anybody wants to ask. But certainly an inspiring group.
Maybe for the level 2 and level 3 students, energy, how to balance. I mean, for every of us, it's that. How to balance the spiritual and our daily life, our family life, and spiritual life. There are so many obstacles.
If you have a 2-year-old, it's going to be different than if you have no kids. If you got a 2-year-old, that's your sadhana right there, that child, until they grow up. So you have to adjust. And I mean, not maybe, you're not going to be meditating. If you have a newborn, that child's not going to be sleeping. You're going to be with him or her. So what am I saying? Be realistic. Don't have, I'm going to do this and it happen. And balance, do the best you can and just increase. I'd rather, well, you have to do certain things to take Kriya, but force isn't ever good. It's just not good. Somebody told me the other day, I just don't like energizing. I said, thank you for honest. I said, I didn't like it either at the beginning, but then I did it because Swamiji looked at me and says, you don't energize, do you? I said, no. He said, you just got to do it. But I said, why don't you take the first few and then add and then add and then add, and do it with music or, go outside and do it. You got to figure it out. But it's not like it's every part of it you're going to like. Some people like to energize. Some people like to do Hong Sa. Some people like the Om technique. Some people rather do the Kriya. Some people like the chant. Some people don't like the chant. You can't please everybody. Just do your best. And how are you going to balance with your work life? I'd say this, what the Gita said, even a little bit of the practice of this inner religion will free you from dire fears and colossal suffering. Don't let go completely. Even if I remember one talk, listen, I'll bargain with you, just 5 minutes, but do something. Otherwise, you don't feel good. I remember someone told one of the acharyas, they said, I just don't have time to do it. He says, do you eat 3 meals a day? You eat every day, don't you? So you must have time to eat. So have the time for this. And what I did in the beginning when I was on the path, I had a sheet and I wrote on there how I use my time. And I put down, okay, talking on the phone. This was that kind of phone in those days. And then going to the mall, sleep, TV, that was big. All these things were like outrageous amount of time. Then I put on the other side how I want to use my time. And I want to meditate, I want to chant, I want to go to the center, whatever it was. And I found so much time on this side that was useless. And I moved it over. Does it make sense? So I cut off the TV time. I cut off the calling my friends on the phone. Just think how much time people spend on social media. That's people's life. It's like, oh, she went to Goa. I need to go to Goa. He went to Kashmir. Look what she did. They're doing it. It's all day, every day. But I don't have time to meditate. I mean, if you even cut off half an hour of that, really. So, I mean, what am I saying? Self-honesty. Just be honest with yourself. I mean, there's usually a lot of stuff you don't really need to do. And if you do things you enjoy of the path, like yoga, well, I'm just really getting more and more into that. Now I just feel so good. I just want to meditate afterwards. Or if music is, or listen to the music. You listen to chants, and then start. You usually have to have some push. Somebody can be talking for an hour. Somebody something the other day. I said, "You're still to the point. What are you trying to say?" But he says so much in 5 minutes. Just listen to 5 minutes. You see, so get something that's going to nudge you in the direction. So balancing out your work, you're going to have to figure out. On the weekends, you have more time. You have at least one day off, isn't it so? I catch up. If I miss some time, catch up on the day off. Instead of, oh, that's over. Just catch up. Meditate more that day. Energize twice. And as you get going, the habit will be more firm. What I want to say is maybe this is not what the teacher want to hear, but worry doesn't help you. Don't stress. You go, God. It's not gonna take you anywhere. And also, I was meeting some people, and I thought maybe they need more time to take Kriya. And so you have to feel like this is a good time. It's not a stressful time. I just got out of the hospital. Now where's the Kriya? I just had a baby. I could have taken Kriya right now. Sometimes it's just not the right timing. Do your best and keep feeling. Am I enjoying this? Is it helping me? Do I look different? Do I feel different? Do I want to keep going forward? And be with good company. I can't say that enough. The good company took me a long way. Because even if my mind was saying, you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, but everybody else was energized, I said, I like it, Is it true? I don't want to energize you. I like it. Is it true? I don't want to meditate. Oh, they're meditating. Yeah. Even if it wasn't quite what I wanted to do, I was doing it because the other group. Does it make sense? So be with people who are doing it, and it probably will rub off on you. You find yourself meditating. So these are the ways to get in that aren't. I don't like seeing that stress on people's faces. It's just not. It's not good. It should be joy. Ananda's joyful. We're very serious. We're sincere. But I could have come out here and said, you must do this and you got to do that. And who's going to listen to that? And I'll end with this. I know I've been saying that for half an hour. I'll end with this really, is that I had this dream of Yogananda ji. And it was decades back. And rare blessing, honestly. And in the dream, there was a huge hall. and there are many of us there. I don't remember anybody's face except for Swamiji. Swamiji was there. We were all his children, so to speak. He had guided us and helped us along the path, and we all knew we were finished. The lifetime was finished. We were just waiting for Master to come, and it was done. We had done what we could do. So suddenly, there were double doors. The doors flew open, and Master walks in, just like you see him on the YouTube. Just, he's so powerful. There were two men with him. Remember, black suits, white shirts, those guys. And Master had his robes, and he was just wow. He was power. I mean, this was. I think it was a vision, honestly. So he came in. He was chanting this really I never heard, but on the top of his lungs, powerful. And he came, touched people on the head and took the hand and blessed people. I mean, he was going around in the crowd, getting it, touching as many people as he could. And what I loved about it is he never said, you didn't energize. I didn't see you doing the Kriya. Your Hung Sa. What he was so happy. He was so happy with everybody. He was so proud. There was no judgment at all. None. And we always think, I didn't look at me, crack me down, and it's like it just was none. And then suddenly, he just left. He dematerialized. And we all did too. And we went with him. And he was done. He was happy. I don't think it was a dream. I think it is the reality. We do our best. We have this 25% and the 50%, to add to that. And then, poof, it's over. It's over. So keep that in your mind. Affirm it, even if you don't feel it. Even if I don't believe it, I'm affirming it. That because of them, I can leave. I think we're close. Swamiji opened the door. He opened the door. Master told him to be free in that lifetime. He said, don't think about it. But yes, Swamiji was 22 when Master taught him. So, he cracked that door open. You're trying to, go for it. So don't have a long face that, gee, I'll never make it. Well, everybody else will, but I won't. Just go for it. You have joy in your heart, and you will find that, wow, it's a high birth. It's not your normal birth. My music teacher keeps telling me, you're not normal. He doesn't know. You're just not normal. None of us is normal. Okay, let's sit for just 1 minute. Gratitude to God and the Masters. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So we'll close now. And anyone who I haven't met before, please come over and say hello. Yes, there is a yes. So please come if I haven't met you, so I can please say hello to you. Or if I have met you, you're